So I decided to climb Kilimanjaro in September with the aim to summit on the evening of New Year's Eve. I figured that would give me 3 months or so to get ready and be ready for the challenge. There are two main reasons for me wanting to take on this challenge. First, I was looking to push myself out of my comfort zone. And in addition to that, I was looking to raise money for a worthy cause, and I settled on the charity, the Samaritans. So after a couple of months of buying stuff that I needed, reading kit lists, going on training weekends, by Christmas Eve I was confident that I had everything I need and was ready to go. Flying out of Gatwick via Doha to Kilimanjaro Airport in Tanzania. So after a short transfer in Doha, we continued on another 6-hour flight to Kilimanjaro Airport. On the approach to the airport, we were able to see the summit of Kilimanjaro poking out through the clouds, close to the altitude that the aircraft was flying at. I think it was at this point I was starting to realise the scale of the challenge that I had committed myself to. So after being picked up at the airport by the transfer driver to take me to Moshi, this being my first experience driving in Africa, I was slightly concerned that I wouldn't actually make it to the town in order to start the climb, as there seemed to be little to no rules on the roads. We were able to see the mountain through the entire hour's drive. I spent the day before the climb exploring Moshi and having a look around, which was not what I'm used to, but interesting nonetheless. By the evening, I was able to get an unobstructed view of the summit. So the next morning we went to the gear rental shop and met half of the team that I'll be climbing with before travelling to Lindrin Lodge to meet up with the rest of the guys. It was here at Lindrin Lodge where we met our lead guide Moini and assistant guide Steve and the rest of the climbing team that we would be climbing with.
So we've just arrived at Machame Gate, which is 1,800 meters above sea level, about 6,000 feet. Just registered, had some lunch, ready to start. It's kind of like a rainforest around here, lots of people. So yeah, raring to go.
So the walk from Machame Gate to Camp 1 is a fairly long but gentle walk through the jungle, which is a good opportunity to get to know your climbing partners and also people that are in other groups, because you all go through the same trail to get to Camp 1. Didn't see a huge amount of wildlife on the way up, bar a few monkeys, but that was about it. After a few hours walking, the porters start to catch up with you and pass you to set up camp for your arrival at Camp 1.
So we're at Camp 1 now, which is about 3,000 meters above sea level. We came up about 1,200 meters yesterday, which took about 5 hours. So it's a lot colder up here. We're out of the jungle now, into sort of like a scrubland really, which is cool. These are the tents we stayed in last night. Managed to get about 5 hours sleep, so not too bad, but could have done with about 10. So we're going to go from Camp 1 to Camp 2 today. That's kind of how it works. And it's about 3,800 meters, so only a vertical climb of about 800 meters from here. It's going to take about 5 hours, so we'll get there for sort of lunchtime, have our lunch, and then we'll have another walk up to a little over 4,000 to acclimatise, and then back down for some grub and sleep.
As we continue up from Camp 1 to Camp 2, the jungle canopy opens to give some really spectacular views over the plains and Mount Meru down to the southwest of us. As we continue up the mountain, we start to head into the clouds, where the temperature does start to drop quite significantly.
So we're in Camp 2 now, about 4,000 meters, 13,000 feet above sea level. So 1,000 meters up from this morning. The walk up was harder than yesterday. It was much steeper, but we cleared the jungle and cleared the scrub, and we're starting to lose a lot of vegetation as we approach the alpine desert. So we're at the sort of altitude where you can get altitude sickness now. Thankfully I don't have any symptoms, and I'm taking my Diamox, which seems to be doing the trick. About to go for a little walk, a little acclimatization walk, which is another 100-150 meters vertically, to come down for some dinner and some sleep, which is wine. Had a really good night's sleep last night at Camp 2. It was super snug, and I've woken up this morning to a pretty amazing view, and realised that it was freezing last night and there's a really heavy frost everywhere. So today we're going up to about 4,600, 15,000 feet, and then back down again to Camp 3, which is a little over 4,000, I think. It's a acclimatization day today. Everything's frozen solid, which is good because it meant the condensation froze and I didn't get wet.
Pole pole, hakuna matata.
Jambo,
Jambo
buena.
buena, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni, wageni wakaribishwa wapi Kilimanjaro, hakuna matata.
Out the lava tower. This is 4,600 meters, about 15,000 feet. Part of our acclimatization walk. It took us about 5 hours to get here from Camp 2. We walked clear of the shrubland straight into the alpine desert. I was hoping to get a suntan, but I think I was a little bit mistaken. It's got really quite cold now, and it's getting much harder to breathe. Quite a few people are getting quite ill with allergy sickness, but luckily I'm not one of them, so fingers crossed.
So after a brief lunch at the lava tower, we continued our walk down to Camp 3. Everybody was happy to get out of the clouds and back into some slightly better weather.
Arrived at Camp 3, 3,900 meters, I don't know, 12,500 feet down from the lava tower for our acclimatization walk. This camp is otherwise known as the Barranca camp because it's next to the Barranca wall. So this is a 300 meter semi-cliff face that we will be climbing tomorrow morning. So I woke up this morning to a pretty amazing view. There's a Barranca wall there, which we'll be climbing after breakfast. Looks like somebody's already on their way up. Down into the plains down there. Getting pretty cold night again last night. Everything's frozen. But I have to say I was pretty warm and slept pretty well. So this route here is the Western Breach route, which is a more technical climb. I read a story about a group of American climbers that were camped up there before their camp was wiped out by a rockfall, and they closed it. Apparently it's reopened again now, but you need a special permit to climb it. So the park won't take any responsibility for what happens because it's a dangerous route. But this is about 5,000 meters here, so the summit is another 1,000 meters above that. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
How's breakfast?
Seems good. Not so bad.
What have we got today?
Disgusting.
Mmm.
I can do it.
Delicious.
Yeah. It's energy, man. Energy and oxygen.
Yeah.
So after breakfast, we head off to the Barranco Wall. A lot of the groups have already started their ascent up the wall. Barranco is one of the points where a lot of routes meet, so it does get very busy up there, and we were stuck in traffic for quite a long time going up in the end.
Made it to the top of Barranco Wall. Took us 3 hours. Got stuck in a traffic jam for a bit, but we made it up to the top. And it's like the moon up here. There's absolutely no vegetation at all.
So from the top of Barranco Wall, we head to Caranga Camp, which involves going down the Caranga Valley, which you can see here, and up the other side, which is very steep.
Now we're at the Caranga Camp, 4,050 meters above sea level. Took us 5 hours to get here today. We got stuck in traffic on the Barranco Wall for a while, so we were a bit delayed. But we got up here for about 2:30 in time for some lunch. This is it's pretty barren, pretty cold up here. It's been in the cloud the whole time we got here, and raining on and off. So we spend the last full night here before we make a summit attempt. So we'll be leaving to the final base camp tomorrow morning, and then go from there.
Your western runs travel towards eastern suns. Far above all earthly goals, I pledge for creation's soul.
So just woke up from what was the worst night's sleep I've had on the trip. I went to sleep at about 3:30 to 6 o'clock. So I'm not feeling great. Starting to feel quite anxious about the summit attempt tonight, which isn't making things any better. Yeah, it's pretty cold up here, and the pitch for the tent isn't very good. It's like trying to sleep on a cobblestone road, but the view's pretty good, so a bit cold. So I just had my blood oxygen levels done again, which are up quite a lot from yesterday, which has made me quite happy. Also found out that helicopter rescue is only $1,500, so you know, if it gets tough, show me the chopper.
Move away from your western runs, travel towards eastern suns. Far above all earthly gold, a pledge for creation's soul. Move away from your western runs, travel towards eastern suns. Far above all earthly gold, a pledge for creation's soul.
So the last day before the summit is quite a short walk, although made slightly more taxing by the lack of air. Everyone's kind of getting quite out of breath at this point, just bimbling along.
Seasons
come across this volcanic stone that looks very much like slate, but sounds like glass when you break it, basically.
So that's our final base camp over there before we head up to the summit. Just there. So we made it to camp 4, 4,700 meters above sea level, about 16,000 feet. So currently at higher than any point, almost in Western Europe. Mont Blanc is very slightly higher. Took us a while to get up here, but feeling strong, feeling confident. Had my blood oxygen tested again this morning after a disappointing reading last night, and it was up towards 90%, so feeling good. You can see one peak behind me and Kimbo Peak where we're going tomorrow up there. But other than that, this place looks like Mars. There's not a single piece of vegetation anywhere. So I'm going to go and have some lunch. Feeling? Iago? Not too good.
I feel like
Christine, how you feeling?
I'm sleepy
Ready for summit?
after another 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah. Ash?
I'm looking forward to the next meeting time.
Yeah. You guys?
Like immediate.
Feeling pretty good, yeah.
How are you feeling, James?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So one last blood oxygen level reading before being given the recommendation to continue by the guide. We started our summit attempt at 11:30 on New Year's Eve, joining a whole line of other people hoping to see the first sunrise of 2019 from the top. The next 7 hours were the hardest of my life. Every step that you took hurt. Every slight increase in pace left you exhausted and gasping for air. The cold was biting and the wind was howling. You would think you were near the top, only to look up and see other climbers 200 or 300 meters above you still climbing. It was just a case of getting your head down and carrying on, and in the end, it will be worth it.
Well, Happy New Year from the roof of Africa. Took us 7 hours to get here. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Absolutely exhausted. Freezing cold coming up. Left in the dark. We got here for sunrise. But a really humbling experience. So thank you to everyone who supported me and sponsored me for this fundraiser, and thank you to the Samaritans for endorsing my fundraising effort. Ooh. Wow, I suppose it's about 3 hours to get down. Oh. don't really have much left in the tank. However, I've been crunching some numbers, and Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa. It's also higher than any mountain in Europe and Australasia. It's also winter in the northern hemisphere, which means that no one's really climbing in the Himalayas or in the Rockies, which basically means we're pretty much higher than everybody who is not in the Andes. Yeah. So, worst places to be.
From the top, we were able to get some fantastic views of what remains of the glaciers on Kilimanjaro. These glaciers are expected to be gone within the next 10 to 15 years, having already lost 85% of their coverage since 1910. After about an hour on top, we headed back down to camp, arriving in base camp at around 10-11 o'clock, meaning it was a 12-hour journey up there and back. By early afternoon, you could hear the helicopters coming in to collect people that were either too exhausted or too sick to carry on. During the last hour we were at the camp, we counted 3 helicopter rescues coming from the mountain to and from Moshi. After about an hour's rest or so, we continued our descent down another 2,000 meters to our final camp, passing the stretchers that were used to take people down to the lower camps en route. After we pack up the camp, it's only a short walk down to the Mweka gate where everybody can go home. The whole squad gets pretty lit at this point.
Hakuna matata, hakuna matata, wageni wetu, hakuna matata, yeye Samuel, hakuna matata, yeye Lucas, hakuna matata, yeye Aston, hakuna matata, yeye James, hakuna matata, yeye Jacob, hakuna matata, yeye Christy, hakuna matata, yeye Malaysia, hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa Kilimanjaro, hakuna matata. Hakuna matata.
So after about 12 hours sleep at the last camp, waking up feeling really refreshed and ready to go, it was only a short walk back down to the Mweka gate where we would meet the bus to take us back to town.
So here we are at Mweka Gate, end of the 7-day trek, all done, paperwork filled out, Kilimanjaro, completed it, mate.